Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 181 of your favourite Formula 1 show. Yes, Knowing Wheel is back this week with kind of a hybrid episode, to be completely honest. Obviously, we're now into the depths of Formula 1's triple header. Jamie is still in the US. How is it going? Have you been shot yet?
I've not been shot at. It's extremely warm. And I see people in the UK complaining it's a little bit hot right now.
Don't start this.
That it's 25 degrees if you're lucky in Celsius.
It was 27 earlier on today. It is still 25 degrees currently, but my room is boiling.
So it's peaking at 35 today here, and it will get down to 28 if I'm lucky in the evening. So,
but what's your humidity?
Very high, like 80-90% or something.
Oh, yeah, but that's not quite the 100% we pretty much live with in the UK, is it?
No, it's true. But I cannot walk from my air-conditioned house to my air-conditioned car.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Throw in the air conditioning. Throw that in. I'm just here melting in my room.
I'm having a great time. I just had barbecue chicken for lunch. You know, what more could you want?
Nice. But yeah, I mean, that's Jamie and I's first argument of the night, wrapped up nice and early. But we're also in a bit of a time constraint because we both want to watch England get knocked out of the Euros as well. So yeah, we're kind of hoping. How long is it away? How long are you away for, Jamie, again?
I'm back on. No, I'm not. I'm back a week on Friday.
Oh, okay. So after
it's currently
the triple
Tuesday.
Header.
Yes.
Oh no, so a week and a half or.
A week and a half, yeah.
Okay, that's all right then. So we might be able to do.
So I'll catch the last race. I'll catch Silverstone in the UK.
Exactly. We might be able to get like a post Silverstone show or something like that. But yeah, it's kind of a bit all over the place. I'm out in Belgium for the 24-hour race as well this weekend. So you're getting one show lumped in together, which is kind of like a half Spain review and a half Austria preview. Timestamps, as always, though, will be linked down in the description below. And, well, let's kick this off, Jamie, because Barcelona, for how many years it's delivered us terrible races, this weekend was pretty good right from the get-go.
It was. And you had, as we spoke about last week, the kind of whole narrative about, this is quite season defining because are McLaren good? Are Ferrari still good like they were in Bahrain? Are Mercedes okay now that Russell's got this pole position? And the answer to those was kind of mixed, but overall was a yes. McLaren are right there, especially Norris this weekend. And Mercedes weren't just a flash in the pan in Canada. They look like they're here to stay at the front of the field. And has Lewis Hamilton messed up going to a team that Mercedes are definitely faster than right now?
I think definitely faster than is a bit unfair. Mercedes still haven't won a Grand Prix this year. Ferrari have.
They've won two.
Eh?
Ferrari have won two Grand Prix.
I completely forget about Australia. Yeah, they have won two Grand Prix this year, haven't they? Still, they're the only team where both drivers have won.
Both drivers have won. Yeah, true.
Which is quite.
They probably will remain that way for a while.
Maybe. I think actually no. I genuinely don't see Checo winning one this year.
I don't.
That is quite funny,
Piastri.
isn't it? Yeah, probably. Piastri might win somewhere, although the way he's been driving recently, I think once you're back in the UK, we need to sort of really deep dive into that. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's too warm. I mean, Mercedes, if they keep up this run of form, then you'd argue George and Lewis might both be able to snooker away before the end of the year. I must admit, I would still love to see Lewis get one last win with Merc. I don't want his last victory.
Equal his poles and wins back up.
Yeah, exactly. I really don't want his... Because it seems so bad, doesn't it? That his last F1 victory up to now is Jeddah 2021. Which I remember us doing the podcast after that. It was such a terrible race that people seemed to love because they liked Max being a terrorist.
The drama was hilarious, to be fair.
It was, but I think, like we said, hindsight is a beautiful thing. But we that weekend showcased that F1 had completely lost control already. And of course, as we always find a way, we've brought this back to Abu Dhabi 2021. So we're going to move away from that. But I think, I would hope that even as someone that isn't a Lewis fan like yourself could admit, it would be nice to see him get one last victory where we know that is probably it.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like when Raikkonen was chilling at Ferrari for so many years, and it felt like for a while his last win was going to be that random season opener in 2013. But then eventually, he got that fairy tale last win in USA, which we all knew he was on his way out of Ferrari and on his way out of, a competitive car, realistically, for the rest of his career. So we all knew that was going to be his last win as he won it, and it was great, and we all loved it. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to see Lewis win a race, not a championship, again.
Silverstone?
I mean, Silverstone would be pretty cool. It would be a shame not to be there.
Mad.
But yeah, it would be pretty awesome.
That.
I would much rather Lewis win a race than George Russell, that's for sure.
I think I can agree with that. I don't mind George, but yeah, he's certainly still a little bit. I feel like, again, this is going to be one of the weird things with the British drivers, of course, is obviously, I think for a long time we were kind of worried, weren't we, that F1, for British fans was going down quite a dark route, wasn't it? Obviously, when it was really already Lewis. Obviously, Jensen McLaren had absolutely fallen off, and I think even he knows he was never quite the same driver as Lewis. Obviously, we had the GOAT Jolyon Palmer, who was very unfairly treated down at Renault. I think we were all kind of worried, weren't we, that he was kind of going to be, well, once Lewis goes, we've got nothing. And obviously, we've got Lando and George now, and obviously, some people like to say Alex as well. And I'll be honest, out of the three of them, I like Alex the most. Ultimately, Alex, Albon is probably my favourite out of the three of them. From a solely personality perspective, he's, the one I can absolutely see myself rooting for the most. Yeah, I still like Lando, I still like George, but as we can discuss from this weekend, both a little bit of a bottle job in recent times.
I mean, I really like Lando Norris. He's probably, if it was Norris against Max in a championship fight, I would struggle to pick who I want to win in that way.
Well, it's going that way this year.
Well,
Lando, for the first time ever, is P2 in the championship.
Max has still wrapped this championship since Bahrain, not going to lie. Since pre-season testing. So
come on, Jamie, that builds up the hype to keep viewers sticking around.
Yeah. I mean, Norris is definitely going to win the championship. It's definitely not 7-1 in wins so far. Yeah, I do like Norris, but he should have won a lot more races than he has won this season. That's a hot take, maybe, but
no, I'm completely with you. I'm completely with you. I mean, well, let's talk about this, shouldn't we? Because obviously qualifying, I think no one was really expecting it once Max has set his final lap time. But Lando got the better of him.
He did.
And I was saying this the last couple of episodes, wasn't I? That the Lando, there's only so many times where you can qualify within a tenth of that Red Bull and never get the better of it. And this was... I'm hoping Lando's kind of viewing this as a critical first step of proving that he can... but I meant sort of more for how things are squaring up at the moment.
Yeah.
You've got to have that ultimate belief that you can go quicker than the rival.
Yeah.
And this is, obviously with the exception of Monaco, the first time he's really got the better of Max. I love the fact as well in his post-qualifying interview that Lando said, without a shadow of a doubt, this is the best pole lap he's ever done. When he's literally got two to choose from.
And one of them was 3 years ago. Yeah.
And Max was starting at the back of the grid, so I don't think he qualified there, did he?
No, he didn't. I still finished second.
But yeah, the luckiest P2 ever. That doesn't get talked about enough. As people go, oh well, Hamilton was lucky in Hungary.
Max was going to finish seventh or something, wasn't he?
He got rattled by Alonso all weekend. He was going to lose so many points there. Exactly, wild.
Still finished P2.
But yeah, I mean. Yeah, so obviously Lando got the better of Max in qualifying, despite the fact, obviously, they were both about 3/10 clear of everybody else. And like we kind of said, this track, I feel like probably not as much as it was when we had the chicane in place still. Certainly not suggesting I want the chicane back. But we really did say, this track was going to be one that really kind of allows us to work out the pecking order.
Yeah.
So Red Bull and McLaren, I think you could argue, are pretty much even at the top.
Yeah.
Mercedes, though, I think to the surprise of many, got the better of Ferrari this weekend.
Yeah, clearly. They had an arm's length, really, didn't they? So, yeah, Sainz especially.
I think half a tenth is not an arm's length in qualifying.
No, exactly.
But, yeah.
But Sainz was quick in practice and seemed to be almost the favourite for pole based on the FP3 times. But yeah, for whatever reason, Mercedes got the better, and it was Hamilton P3, Russell P4. Again, 3/10 off the front row, but with the second McLaren and the second Red Bull both having a pretty poor session by Piastri standards. Perez actually had a good session by his standards.
He made Q3.
Exactly. So, it worked out well for the Mercedes back in the second row. right up there.
So I mean, they were what? It was both Ferraris and both Mercedes covered by less than half a tenth, wasn't it? In the end, it was absolutely wild. But I think ultimately, both of those cars still lack that kind of ultimate pace. You know, I think the Red Bull is probably still, in terms of just theoretical limits, the best car. I would say though McLaren. Well, this is what I was going to say. I think McLaren are fractionally down. But obviously, on a track like Barcelona, especially in qualifying, they are so much better on their tyres than everybody else. McLaren have absolutely figured out a way to work the tyres like nobody else can at the moment. And whether that's down to the car or whether that's down to the way they kind of understand the Pirelli rubber, but I would say McLaren probably have a better all-rounder, obviously, in the real world than Red Bull do right now. But I would say Red Bull still, theoretically in a wind tunnel, have a car that can just slightly, generate more downforce or have more aero.
Potentially.
That kind of thing still. But in the real world, obviously, that's not everything in Formula 1.
Yeah. And this weekend as a whole was a great example of Verstappen being the difference, I think. Because, again, like in Canada, it wasn't the fastest car on the race day at all. And he got the victory when he probably shouldn't have done. Ahead of Norris.
Probably shouldn't have done, I think, is harsh. But it certainly wasn't, a cut and dry, this is going to be another Max win. Or it shouldn't have been. Yeah,
definitely. It shouldn't have been so easy, basically. Same as Canada, in a way.
I don't think he ever felt it was easy.
No, but he should have had a car right down the back of his neck, which he hasn't done for the last 2 races now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, let's talk, obviously, as we move into the Grand Prix, though, of course, it was all eyes on those front two, wasn't it? Because there really was this kind of belief that, it might well be whoever's ever leading at Turn 1 has got a huge advantage here. First of all, loved the fact that Lando was not afraid to get the elbows out with Max at the start there.
I've said this forever.
Had it been the other way around...
You've always been saying that Norris doesn't fight Max. I've been saying Norris doesn't fight anyone when he doesn't need to fight them. But when he does need to fight them, he totally does. And we saw that in Miami.
I'm happy to stand corrected on that.
Yeah, like when he's actually got a chance of beating Max over the race distance, which now he seems to do every week, have a chance of beating him, he will fight. And I'm really pleased that, Verstappen got a little bit of an elbow onto the grass and the stewards let it go, which is nice. And that gave the chance to the second row.
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. Well, this was the big one, wasn't it? Because George Russell, I would argue, well, put it this way, had Fernando Alonso done that at that Grand Prix, that would be overtake of the year done.
Probably would be. It was phenomenal. I was amazed.
Worldy.
I actually forgot he started 4th for a bit. I thought he was 3rd because of how good it was. But
Hamilton just got a terrible start, didn't he?
Yeah. But the fact he was able to fling it around the outside, it looked like he was going straight off. But he just got the grip out there on the racing line, I guess, and took the lead. And he's one of his own best fans, isn't he? He always bigs himself up for big overtakes and big moves.
Oh, yeah.
So he would have been absolutely loving it, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, what I loved more about that as well, though, with George, was I genuinely think in that moment, because I think, we spoke about this so many times over the last couple of years, haven't we? Of obviously how much the psychology plays into it. And, whether it was simply he watched Lando get his elbows out with Max as well at Turn 1, these two both know in the future they are going to be having title fights with Max. And in the same way that Max has been able to do with most of the grid throughout his Formula 1 career, they know you have got to get it into his head that if you go side by side with him into a corner, you aren't just going to back out. You're going to make him work for it. And he, because at the end of the day, you need that psychology, which is something still I think Lewis has kind of lacked because he's come from an older generation where the rules were very different.
Yeah.
It is just about preserving the car. I genuinely think George into Turn 1 there was prepared to have a 3-way crash if it had come to it. He was turning that car in. He was going for the line he was going for. And if there was a crash, he was okay with that.
Yeah.
And that plays a huge mental game in the future if Max is going side by side with him. Say, for example, at the Kemmel Straight at Belgium or down to the first chicane at Monza. We need more drivers to be proving to him, we've got a car now that's competitive enough. You ain't having it easy anymore.
Yeah. And it's good for the sport. I think it's positive all round.
Oh, absolutely.
But to be fair, I did think there was going to be a huge crash. when I was watching it that like Russell.
I was slightly worried.
I was so amazed that he got it slowed down and stayed on the track with how much speed he carried around the outside. But fair play, he got it done. Shame for him that the car pace wasn't quite there to get much benefit from it, really. But yeah, it was a cool moment and definitely a good start to the race. But yeah, third lap was it? As soon as DRS came in. No, not anymore because DRS is lap 2 now, isn't it? But
it was lap 3, though, I believe.
It was lap 3 that Max took the lead and checked out, and we were like, well, I guess that's that then. And it was left to the two Brits, Norris and Russell, to battle.
And actually, Lewis was 4th still.
Oh yeah, Lewis was still 4th, to be fair. But the little battle between Russell and Norris throughout the race almost basically cost Norris a chance of fighting with Verstappen, but it was great value and good to watch, wasn't it?
Well, this is what I was going to say, because we hype up George for that move down at turn 1. He did kind of accidentally ruin the race, though, after that, because it was quite clear that Mercedes didn't have the ultimate pace. And I'm not saying, of course, that he made the wrong choice. But obviously, Max was able to fly back past him. Lando just couldn't quite get close enough again. It seems that McLaren definitely still struggles a bit more in the dirty air, relative to some of the others.
And I guess Red Bull's top speed with DRS.
Top speed,
is crazy.
Exactly. That thing still works so well in a straight line. And, that's what I mean when I go back to, again, those hypothetical all-out limits that Red Bull still has the advantage on. Don't get me wrong, I agree with you, Max is making the difference in some of those occasions at the moment, but he has still got a car that kind of suits the way Formula 1 races tend to play out at the moment as well, which can, on paper, not really make a difference when you look back, but when you kind of really dive into the races and you're watching them live, you realise how much of an impact that can have. But ultimately, first stint, George kind of took too much out of the tyres early on, didn't he? Pretty much sort of within the first couple of laps. And that basically obviously meant when Max did sail past him, it was then going to be very, very difficult to try and obviously not only keep up with him, but then also really have an impact and sort of keep Lando closer to him, even though he was behind. Yeah,
definitely. And the battle they had for like half a lap was phenomenal, in the second stint, wasn't it?
Yes.
They were side by side through the first 3 corners, and it kept on going until halfway through the middle sector, and then Norris eventually went down the inside at the turn 8, I want to say, maybe 7, the left-hander.
7 and 8, yeah.
Crazy good move. I was, again, astonished there was no contact. And they actually...
I think those still got a lot of respect for each other.
They have, but going side by side through that many difficult corners was pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Do you know what it reminded me of? Seriously.
What was that?
Verstappen versus Bottas in Austria 2020.
Yes, yeah. When Verstappen held off for P2, didn't he?
Only for a lap, but yeah.
Was it only a lap? Yes.
It was only a lap.
It was, wasn't it? But the way that he carried speed around the outside of turn 4 at Austria and just surprised Bottas by coming back up the inside was great. And that was when Max was making a season out of not a season. So
yeah, admittedly it was against Bottas, but still. So there is obviously Bottas
best car of all time
in all of that. Can we get the tinfoil hats back on quickly, Jamie? Because we've got to mention this as well, haven't we?
Okay.
Obviously, we mentioned the conspiracy surrounding Lewis Hamilton last week, and how obviously he's seemingly always a couple of tenths away from George by qualifying, and obviously everything like that. Obviously, Toto Wolff came out saying that that's obviously completely ridiculous, and there've been an email apparently sent from inside the team to media and things like that about it as well. That apparently would have brought evidence. And of course, whether it made Mercedes' case look better or worse, because obviously Hamilton did out-qualify George for the first time, well, not for the first time this year, but I think like second or third, isn't it? And then did finish him in the race.
Score his first podium. Conspiracy's over.
First podium of the 18 years of podium, or 18 seasons of podiums. Is wild. But it did genuinely make, not tear up, but maybe a little bit sad, of course, because it's something I hadn't really thought about recently. But of course, obviously, Mercedes put out a promo about it, going, 18 years, 18 seasons of podiums with Mercedes power. And you're kind of going, I kind of forgot that obviously he's not going to have Merc power next year.
For the first time ever. He's been carried by a Mercedes engine his entire career.
He has.
Now he's
How many other drivers have won World Championships with Mercedes power in that time? 2?
in that time since '07.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Button and Rosberg.
Button and Rosberg for one title each. Yeah, wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just insane, isn't it, when you think about it?
It is, the longevity.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we talk about Max making the difference though this weekend because of course he did take the Grand Prix victory. Some of that I think can be counted down to bad luck for Lando, obviously getting stuck behind George in the first stint.
Well, get a better start then.
Some of
it's
it,
not bad luck.
Exactly. Well, he got a bit pinched down to turn one, to be fair. He was a little bit unlucky in that regard because George went round the outside.
The only reason he couldn't cover Max off to begin with was because he didn't get a good launch. So that is on
him.
No,
that's true. That is true. Obviously, it was a bit unlucky getting stuck behind George early on. And obviously, McLaren then gambled the strategy in a really odd way, which I didn't quite understand, to be honest. I think they should have committed to a one-stop and just kind of tried it. And, of course, the final pit stop was pretty poor, wasn't it? It was like 3.6 seconds or something.
Yeah.
All of those things combined, which admittedly, two of those you would say were out of Lando's control.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big question is, should he have won this race? I'm not asking you, could he have won this race? I'm asking you, should he have won this race?
I think his own reaction tells you should have done. Because you put it on pole position at a track which is notoriously in favour of the car on pole position. Then you're going to be disappointed if you don't win the race. So I think he would say he should have done. And I think I would too.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair enough. But he did get driver of the day, though, Jamie, which kind of confused me, to be completely honest.
Good justice for Gasly, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, Gasly did have a very nice... Is that his first points of the year this weekend?
No. He's had
scored
4 in a row.
Before? Has he?
Yeah, he's back. He's in. It's all been P10s or P9s, but it's his 4th points finish.
I was going to say, Alpine have scored like no points this year, haven't they?
No, but he's... maybe 3 in a row. It's definitely at least 3. I thought it was 4 though. Definitely scored in Canada. Definitely scored in Monaco.
Alpine have got 8 points. Where did he come in Spain?
He came 9th. They were 9th and 10th.
Oh, for some reason I had in my head that he came 7th.
No. He
which
qualified
really
7th.
threw me off. Yes, yeah. So he's now obviously ahead of Esteban again in the title fight, which is good.
Rightly so.
I tell you who hasn't scored a point yet this year is still Zhou Guanyu, isn't it? Who apparently had a good weekend.
Is he beating his teammate, though, in the championship?
Who, Zhou Guanyu?
Yes.
Yeah, but in the same way that Kubica beat George Russell in 2019.
Exactly. So we take those. P11 in Bahrain, carrying us through. So, yeah.
Joe
did have a good race.
All year.
Joe had a great race.
He did. One of his better ones.
He was good last year at Spain as well. Got a couple of points.
Yeah. Sauber and Mercedes are two teams that weirdly go quite well at Spain.
Yeah, it's a shame we're not going back to Catalunya again. I can't wait for Qatar for his next good race.
Doesn't matter for Joe. He won't be there next year.
No, he'll be. Where is it? Is it Haas, the rumour mill now? I can't remember. Every week
apparently
it's
with 30 million behind him.
We'll take it.
Apparently, so stupid. But yeah, like we said, obviously Max Verstappen even took the victory in Spain this weekend. Should we rattle through quickly then our driver of the day, race ratings, all that good stuff, Jamie? Because race rating, first of all, then I'd say it was up there as one of the best races of the season. I think it comes in second behind Canada.
I'd put it near Miami. I think Miami was slightly more dramatic.
What did Miami get?
We gave it Miami a 7.5.
Well, we gave Canada an 8.5, Miami a 7.5. We gave Japan we need to go back and downgrade Japan.
Well, at that point, we thought that all these races were going to be as good as it got, so we were being very generous. But now the season's actually good.
We were early on. Exactly. We need to go back and half, I think, all the points for the opening few races. I think that deserves a 7, though. It was a good race. There was a lot of strategy.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7 too.
And we have 4 different teams lead at various points.
Yeah, we did.
Which I'm sure there's a stat guru that will tell me it happened 2 weeks ago.
We've had 4 different teams get pole position in the last 4 races.
How long has it been since that last happened?
That must have been an awful long time. Probably I could think maybe 2009 when Fisichella got that random pole. And then Lewis Hamilton did the week after.
Surely 2012.
Oh yeah, 2012 maybe. But then even then
surely
it was mostly Red Bull in qualifying or McLaren, wasn't it? It wasn't.
Yeah,
there wasn't loads of variation. Someone can do some research.
4 different teams taking pole. I'm trying to think. I mean, you could try and be really screwy with it, and maybe the end of 2022 with K-Mag getting pole in the sprint at Brazil, because George obviously got pole for the real race.
Oh yeah, well that doesn't really count, does it? But
no.
Someone some research.
Tell us. Maybe it's never happened.
It definitely has happened.
You reckon?
Otherwise, it'd be all over everything, wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it was a good race, wasn't it? So I think we'll give that one a 7. Jamie, driver of the day.
I've already given mine away.
Like you've said Gasly. I think he deserves a shout. He did pretty well. Lewis, first podium of the year. I want to give him a shout out as well.
Give it to Verstappen.
It was kind of one of those weird ones, wasn't it? Yeah, where there was kind of no standout results as per se.
Yeah,
But Verstappen, I think, ultimately did. I mean, he had to work for that one. And to be fair, even as someone that isn't a Verstappen fan, I can also appreciate, of course, the way he actually celebrated at the end of this one shows you that, he had to work for that. So I think, staggeringly, I'm going to give Verstappen driver of the day.
There you go.
Which is quite impressive.
Outrageous.
Outrageous.
But yeah, he did very well. And yeah, I'm very glad, actually, even though, the wins will be lower than they were last year, I'm glad people are respecting Verstappen a lot more, just because it's closer and he's having to actually work for his wins now, which is great.
Exactly. It's I'll be intrigued to see whether he cracks at some point as well, which would be quite funny. Predictions!
Oh dear.
What are the scores on the doors?
The scores were, before this, I was on 39 and you're on 36.
Yep. So 3
it's
points
close.
in it.
It's very close.
Who did you predict this weekend?
I thought I was on for a winner at one point. I predicted Max Verstappen pole, no points.
So you get you get no points, sorry.
Max Verstappen win, thank you very much. Easiest 2 points
well done.
you're ever going to see.
Ever, yep.
I said George Russell P2, which got me very excited when he took the lead at turn 1. And I said Oscar Piastri P3 to be different from you, who obviously didn't have a very good race at all, and actually is on fraud watch potentially because Norris is getting a lot more out of the car than he is right now. And
I think fraud watch
quali was especially poor, but the race pace hasn't quite been on the level. But you kind of expect that. He's got 5 years less experience, but yeah, quali should have done better. I'll say it.
He should have, to be fair. So you got 2 points.
Yes, which
from
takes
this
us
weekend.
to 41.
What did I say, Jamie? 183.
You said Max Verstappen pole, 0 points.
Damn.
You said Max Verstappen race win. Well done.
2 points, thank you.
Lando Norris P2.
2 points, thank you. And what
did
I say?
For some reason, you said Lewis Hamilton would finish 3rd, which is unbelievable.
6 points.
So he
in
got
the bag.
6 out of 6 in the race, only missing out on a perfect score by half a tenth in qualifying.
Yeah, less than that, wasn't it? Yeah, 300ths of a second.
Which means you've actually taken the lead, which means I get to predict Norris on the podium for a change.
You do get to predict first at Austria, which we will get into in a minute. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I believed in the conspiracy. I believed that Mercedes would have to give Lewis a good car this weekend, and it worked. Thank you very much.
There you go.
Let's head to Austria then, Jamie. Of course, this is being recorded on Tuesday, so there's not really a lot we can talk about just yet in terms of actually what's going on ready for the Grand Prix weekend.
It's a sprint.
I mean, it's a sprint. That's straight. It's the only European sprint this year, which I think is insane.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've no idea what unearthly time for me that the sprint race will be happening, but it's probably at like 4 a.m. or something. So
no, it won't be that bad, will it?
It's a sprint at the same time as the GP, or is it not? It's in the morning, isn't it now?
No, it's early, because qualifying same time as GP. Austria...
What time is it for you?
Sprint... Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Oh, this is one where you search Austrian sprint, because of course it's been a sprint every single year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not giving you like the Olympic qualifiers, is it? That sort of sprint. But
No.
Good.
Sprint race is 10 a.m.
So that's going
that's live coverage starts at 10
a.m.
I think the sprint is 6 a.m. for you.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going up for that. Not going to lie.
Wouldn't you?
I might.
6 a.m.'s not that bad.
It's not too. I got it for Australia, so yeah, it could be done.
There you go. See, there you go.
Yes, and we haven't got much to add really. Obviously, Norris loves the Spielberg track. He's an absolute Spielberg merchant in the past. First
So is
podium
Verstappen.
there, as is Verstappen. So that's the top 2 nailed on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that for you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always been quite a good race. I absolutely love it when it's boiling hot over there and the tyres just disintegrate, which gives you plenty of strategy variation. Hopefully that happens again. And we might get another good race.
Crossed.
But
Exactly,
yeah, it's a great little track. We've both been there. You almost saw Jolyon Palmer score a point.
I did. I was gutted. I remember that well. Even to this day, 7 years on, Jolyon was robbed late on in the day. There, P11 would have been his first ever points, I believe, at the time. No, he did score a couple at the end of 16, didn't he?
He got one in 16 in Singapore.
Yeah,
no,
Malaysia, wasn't it? Malaysia, yeah. He did really well at Singapore. Never forget that.
That's the year after.
I mean, let's be fair, Jamie. We know what's going to happen now, don't we? Because obviously, this is the only show we're doing this week.
Yeah.
Every single driver transfer for 2025 is going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, let's rather than doing predictions for the Grand Prix, let's predict where everybody's going.
Yeah.
Let's just try and edit this in so we know, obviously, that we've got it right. I can't believe Carlos Sainz has signed a deal with Alpine for next year. Esteban Ocon is going to Chinese Formula 4. That one I can see. Kimi Antonelli's in the Merc, and Liam Lawson's going to Sauber.
He is. That one I actually do believe. The rest of them, I'm not so much. But
do you believe that? Do you think that's happening?
I think that would be great. It makes a lot of sense because Audi are kind of obviously Sainz is everyone's first choice, but it looks like in my head he's gone to Williams, which obviously means he won't go to Williams by the time this airs. But as of right now, I think that's
written that off.
If Sainz goes to Williams, you've got the choice of kind of Ocon, Bottas, Magnussen. I guess you've got Maloney if he keeps on doing all right, which he isn't really at the minute. Paul Aaron is apparently really good now. Or you've got Liam Lawson.
That will collapse still.
Yeah,
that will collapse this year, don't worry.
Or you've got Liam Lawson, who's just chilling, not going to get a seat at RB for some reason, and willing and quite cheap. So why not?
Can I bring up another alternative that I'm staggered is not getting thrown around?
Yes.
Perhaps Sauber's junior driver?
Théo Pourchaire.
Théo Pourchaire, reigning Formula 2 champion.
Hasn't he just got binned off from IndyCar?
He's been absolutely screwed in IndyCar for Nolan Siegel of all people, which I don't understand the hype for. But that's because I don't watch any of the Indy Lights series. How is Théo Pourchaire suddenly now
rubbish,
without any hope of driving in? No, he's not rubbish. He's just screwed over everywhere
why
he goes.
Why is no one interested now? I don't get it, because I guess his last season of F2 wasn't particularly glowing in terms of people kind of expected.
He won the title!
He did, but he won it at he made an absolute meal of it, didn't he? And everyone was kind of like, right, this is the time. Hang
on a minute. Let's not forget, your man, Zhou Guanyu, took 3 years. He's now 42 by the time he won it. And
he didn't actually win it.
He came second.
He came third.
Was it third? Who else did he lose to?
He lost to
Piastri and... Did he?
Yeah, he lost to Schwartzman, I think, in the end.
I love Zhou Guanyu as a person, but how on earth has he maintained this?
That's the thing. Once you get your foot in the door in F1,
is this?
You're fine. Because similar with Lawson, he finished third last year, and he's got much more of a shout than Pourchaire does.
Just Porsche. I mean, why didn't Bottas get COVID or something at some point so Pourchaire could have driven? Stupid.
Who knows?
So stupid.
He's an option too, but I like the Liam Lawson shout a lot. I do like Liam Lawson. I always have done. That's why his F2 career fell apart.
Yep.
And I think it'd be a great move, and that would give Hulk and Lawson, which is like my dream lineup.
I think you would, have a trouser accident when lineup gets announced.
I think I can control myself slightly better than that, but yes.
Fair enough. Do you want your quiz?
Yeah, let's rattle the quiz off within very quickly.
Let's rattle the quiz.
England start in 7 minutes.
England start in 7 minutes. They're going to lose. It's okay. Your quiz this week, Jamie, is really simple.
Okay.
You've got a minute. I'm going to give you a minute. I believe there are 16 answers to this.
16 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, 16. I'm going to give you a minute and a half then, because I'll be nice.
Okay, good.
Really simple. Really simple.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're at the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend.
We are.
Name me every
Yep.
Austrian, was what I was trying to say, Grand Prix driver.
Oh, there's
Your
loads
time
of
starts
minnows.
now.
Alex Wirtz.
Yes.
Gerhard Berger? No, he was German, wasn't he?
Yes.
Oh, really?
No, he's Austrian.
Karl Wendlinger.
Yes.
Niki Lauda.
Yes, I was worried you were forgetting that one.
Austrian. Helmut Marko?
Yes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, 10 Grand Prix, 9 starts. Nothing to show for it.
Austrians. There's no more winners or champions, are there?
No.
I don't think so. Well, this is going to be fun.
No, there is another winner. There is another winner that you will definitely have heard of.
Really? Austrian.
Yep. You got 43
Ratzenberger?
seconds.
Was he Austrian?
Yes, he was. That's 6.
There's 16.
Never won a Grand Prix, though. Yeah, 16?
That's so many. Friesacker?
Yes, 7.
Where did that come from?
Fantastic.
Dornbos? No, he was Dutch, wasn't he?
He was Dutch.
18
18
Austrian
seconds.
race. Can I get the era? Like,
You've got one from the 2000s.
De Matter? No, he was definitely not Austrian.
No.
Um,
4, 3,
Oh.
2.
I bet he drove for
1.
like Minardi or
Time
something.
is up. So you said, obviously, Helmut Marko, Niki Lauda, Gerhard Berger, Karl Wendlinger. Somehow you got him.
I listened to a podcast of his
Roman
on,
Ratzenberger.
that's the only reason I got that.
Okay. Alex Wirtz, Patrick Friesacker. Was that the ones you mentioned? 1, 2.
Who was left?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so those are the 7 you mentioned. You forgot one. Raced for Red Bull in the 2000s.
Christian Clean. I quite like Christian Clean.
Christian Clean, yep.
I should have
A
got
couple
that.
you definitely won't have heard of. Joe Gartner
No
did
chance.
8 Grand Prix in
Was Joe
1984.
Siffert, or was he Swiss?
He's not on this list now. So Joe Gartner, Hans Binder did 15 races between 76 and 78.
No chance.
Karl Oppitzhauser.
No chance.
Never actually technically started. Otto Stupacker, again, never actually started.
You're just making up names at this point.
Pretty much. Harold Ertl did 28 Grand Prix back in the late 70s.
Yep, no chance.
Quite possibly the coolest F1 name. Oh my, I've just seen Harold Ertl's mustache. That is incredible. Quite possibly the best ever racing driver name I've heard recently, and that's somehow better than Dick Trickle, is Helmut Koenig, which is quite impressive.
Yeah.
Did 2 races. Obviously, you mentioned Lauda, you mentioned Helmut Marko. Dieter Quester, which again is a pretty cool name.
That is a cool name.
And the one you absolutely should have got, apart from Christian Klein, if I name you only posthumous F1 world champion.
Oh, I forgot he was Austrian. Jochen Rindt.
Well done.
Yeah.
Bang.
I thought he was German.
7 out of 16 is not bad.
Again, the names I said,
How could he
I
have
don't know
been
where
German
they came from.
when Michael Schumacher was the first German champion?
Yeah. Yeah, should have got
Process
that.
of
Should have got
elimination,
Jochen.
my friend.
Yeah.
You should have. I think the last thing we've got to do then is Austria predictions. There's 10 points available this weekend, isn't there?
There
This
are.
is a sprint.
And I get to go first. So I will
You do.
square away Max Verstappen on pole for the first time in, the second time in 5 races, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Lando Norris, sprint win. He loves a sprint.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Max Verstappen Grand Prix win.
Yep.
Norris second.
Yep.
And Oscar Piastri. I keep saying Piastri. I don't know why.
You keep putting Piastri in there. You've done what I used to do.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so you're saying Max Lando, Oscar.
Yeah.
I'm going to say sprint win, because it's sprint. Yeah, sprint is before qualifying, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, true.
To keep it simple. So you're actually saying Lando, Max,
Yes.
Lando, Piastri. I'm going to say Max Verstappen, sprint win. Lando Norris, pole position.
Interesting. We're going alternate.
Yep. Lando Norris Grand Prix victory.
Great.
Max Verstappen P2.
Yep. Fantastic.
And I'm going to say Charles Leclerc P3.
Interesting. Ferrari back to form. I'd be a little bit surprised.
This is not a bad track for them in recent years.
No.
It's not one that they're perfect at, but it's not one they're bad at either. So we're going to take that.
There you go.
We're going to take that.
Let us know your predictions.
There we go. Have you wrote them all down, have you?
I will do once we stop recording.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Have we got anything else to add, Jamie? We've gone through everything we wanted to pretty quick and just in time to watch England lose.
I wanted to mention that out of 10 Grand Prix this season, Hülkenberg has finished 11th 5 times. Just couldn't let the podcast go without that because, that's deeply unamusing. But there we go.
So funny.
And one of the other 5 times, it was Joe P11. So that was frustrating
you've had a 60% success rate so far this year of your driver not doing that well.
Well, finishing P11 is pretty well in this Alba, so...
We also, at some point, Jamie, need to do a big Formula 2 rant, because this is the year that Formula 2 has been exposed
Formula
as a non-equal series.
Is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. But the fact that Jack Crawford can win a race...
says everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Everything you need
and
to know. And
Behrman's still about 17th, isn't he?
He is. He's just... I mean, Primo just cannot build a Formula 2 car, apparently, which is staggering. It says everything you need to know when Campos are winning.
Yeah.
Campos, Jamie, are winning. Although, they tell you what, the Constructors' fight in F2 this year is wild so far.
Yeah, well, they've had 10 winners
have a look at that.
in how many races? Like 16 races or something?
Is it that many? I thought it was only about 12 or 14.
Well,
so, F2, currently, this year... Why am I looking at 2022? I don't care.
Oh, Joe Guan Yu.
Is currently Campos, 120... High-Tech 119, MP 112, Invicta 105.
Invicta Racing. I think Bortoletto will probably end up winning the championship, if you ask me. But I would like to see Aaron win it, just because he's an absolute nobody, and it's quite fun when they win it.
It would be quite funny. Yeah, exactly. And he's good for Estonian motorsport as well.
Yeah,
which
we love hearing the Finnish national anthem on the podium.
Eh?
Estonia and Finland have the same national anthem.
Is it the same?
It is.
They do, don't they? Yeah, I forgot about that.
There you go. Fun trivia for the day.
An obscure fact. Exactly. There you go. You can tell that one to your friends. Although then again, if you say that fact, you probably don't.
You probably don't have any friends. Yeah.
Thank you all, as always, so much for listening. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you drop a sub, drop a follow, all that good stuff. Jamie and I will try and resume to normal service at some point in the near future. But yeah, thank you all as always for sticking by, and we'll be back very soon with more Formula 1 content.
It's coming home.